Guys, I want to actually read a journal entry from 10 years ago when I started my very first game. This is a little bit raw, a little bit emotional, but I wanted to share it with you to make sure that you guys can understand that you're not alone. January 1st, 2009. January 2nd, 2009. How's it going, guys? My name is Thomas Brush. I'm the creator of a game called Pinstripe. I'm also working on a game called... I just hit the mic. I'm also working on a game called Once Upon a Coma. I love making games. I've been doing it for about 10 years. And there's a ton of videos and tutorials online that I've watched to learn how to make games. Especially when I was making my first game. I can't tell you how much research I did on Google. And I think before YouTube was really a thing, I was doing just a ton of tutorials, as many as I could find, but I never really found a video that told me how I should feel as a game developer. Some emotional pitfalls that you're gonna experience as a game developer, especially when you're making your first game. So I want to make a video with 5 things that you're going to feel, and I promise you, you're going to feel these things when you make your very first game. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to feel, and it's kind of annoying because everybody talks about this is kind of like a meme in the video game industry. You're going to feel like an imposter, and it's called the imposter syndrome. And Notch, the creator of Minecraft, talks a lot about this feeling of feeling like you're a fraud, feeling like you're not a professional, feeling like you're not good enough and that people are going to find out. Sometimes I've felt this way, especially in the past. I felt like I was putting on maybe a mask or something that made me appear like I was a competent professional game developer, when in reality I was lying to everybody and I was a fraud and I was going to be found out, right? Ooh, I'm going to be found out. Well, the thing is that most people will say, you're not a fraud, you're great, you can do it, you're a professional, you're amazing. I appreciate the encouragement here, but the best advice that I've told myself, and nobody ever told me this, I kind of had to figure it out, is it's okay to be a fraud. It's okay to not be great. I think a better way to put it is not necessarily it's okay to be a fraud, it's okay to not pretend. You don't have to put on a facade. You don't have to try and be someone you're not. Just know that it's okay to be incompetent, to not know exactly what you're doing. If any of you have ever worked a desk job, a cubicle job, or maybe gone to university, you understand that the adults in the room, or the people who are smarter than you, they're really not that much smarter. Sure, they've had experience, but I think everybody in some way is walking around pretending they're someone they're not. So be one of the few people out there who's honest about who you are, and learn a lot, and be willing to be humble, because those people, the people who have humility, are definitely the people who are going to rise to the top. Because 1, you're going to learn a lot, and 2, the people at the top realize that you're humble and they want to work with you. In the end, it's okay to feel like a fraud. The best medicine for feeling like a fraud is admitting to yourself that you don't know everything, and that it's time to admit it to everybody and learn and have fun. Okay, the second thing that you're going to learn when making your very first game is you're going to hate it. You're going to hate your game. Oh no, this is so sad. You're so excited right now. You're working on your game, you love it, you're passionate, you can't stop thinking about it, you're up all night. It's like your girlfriend, right? You're infatuated with this game. Well, the truth is that you're going to learn, just like any relationship, you're going to learn to hate things about your game. And you might even hate it across the board. But here's the thing. Be careful. The reason I'm telling you that you're going to hate your game is so that you can emotionally invest and prepare for that fact, so that you don't quit your game. Don't quit on your game, just like you don't quit on a marriage just because it's difficult. Okay, your game is going to become something that you don't really like. Those first few months of excitement for your game are amazing. You're infatuated, you're in love, you love the thing. But it's going to fade, and the months after that are going to be the most challenging months of finishing your game, or years of finishing your game. I spent 5 years working on my game Pinstripe, and now I've worked about 2 to 2.5 years. Wait, is it 3 years? It's something, I can't even remember. Like maybe 3 years on this next game I'm working on called Once Upon a Coma. I promise you 80% of the time it's just been boring and I don't really like the games, but I'm finishing them. Now here's the best part of this relationship you have with your game. The infatuation is fun. The challenges, the dislike, almost the loathing of your game, that's not so fun. But when you finish your game, when you finish it, that's love, right? That's commitment. And you're going to feel that love. You're not only going to feel that love for your project, but you're going to feel the love coming back from your project in the form of money or praise or comments or anything, reviews. After 5 years of working on Pinstripe, I was thrilled to see that Rolling Stone, Vice, Time Magazine, Washington Post, PC Gamer, GameSpot, in spite of the bad review, all of these publications wrote articles about Pinstripe, and that was a dream come true. Also, the audience across the world received the game very well with a 9 out of 10 on Steam, so all I can say is it paid off. That feeling of loathing my game, it was worth it because it paid off in the long run. Number 3, you're gonna wanna quit. I promise you're gonna wanna quit your game. This relates to the second one. It's okay to feel the feeling of wanting to quit your game. You're not a bad person, you're not a screw up, you're not a failure. Everyone wants to quit something. We don't want to follow through. But here's why you do want to follow through. Because what we talked about earlier, it pays off. Okay, it pays off. Let's pretend for a second that your game doesn't pay off. And that the audience doesn't like your game, and that the publications across the world don't actually like your game. Or they don't even write about your game. Well, was it worth it? Should you have followed through? The answer is absolutely 100% no. You should quit. You're a fraud. No, of course not. You really do need to follow through. The reason why is you're building muscle in here, okay? I've finished a lot of projects in my life. From middle school all the way up till the end of college, I finished dozens of projects, none of which had any real positive outcomes other than me growing as an individual. The thing is that the reason why most game developers fail and why a lot of entrepreneurs fail is because they just don't know how to finish something. They're weak. They have a weak mind and a weak work ethic. Following through is all about being able to mentally work through all of the fear, all of the feelings of insecurity and being a fraud and feeling like you're not enough. Being an entrepreneur, being a game developer requires you to work through that. I tell you what, my mind has a lot of emotional muscle because I followed through. A lot of you right now, your mind is a bit weak because you're not exercising it. Think of your mind as a muscle, and you've got to exercise it. You've got to practice being confident in yourself and in your game. And you cannot practice effectively if you're quitting stuff all of the time. Follow through, be repetitive. Think about going to the gym, which is something I love doing. You are very repetitive day after day. Mondays are the same day, Tuesdays are the same day, Wednesdays are the same day, Thursdays are the same day. On and on, it's a loop, but you're growing. It's repetitive, it can be numbing, but it's not numbing when you look back and look at what you've achieved and how much you've grown. Number 4, mental illness might reveal itself. And I'm not making a joke here, I'm dead serious. There are certain mental illnesses that I think we all have a propensity to getting. For me, it was anxiety for a lot of years, and especially during launch seasons, which is like 2 months before you launch a game, a lot of anxiety will come up, and it turns into like this generalized anxiety. I can't tell you how many times I've been on and off different kinds of meds, trying to feel better, blah, blah, blah. Best thing for me was just going to the gym and exercising and learning to control my mind and all the worry and not staying awake at night just thinking about stuff, but forcing myself to not think about stuff. But all that said, if you feel anxious, if you feel depressed, if you feel kind of like you maybe a little bit bipolar or you're OCD about certain things, a lot of these things are mental illnesses that reveal themselves. Maybe you didn't know you had them, but you just needed the right stimulus to push it forward and show itself. So don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're a fraud or a fake or you're not the right person to be making games just because these things show up. It's okay that they show up. Now, what I'm going to say is don't make them your identity and don't turn it into something that you think you just have to deal with. I'm the kind of guy who, if I have a problem, I know that there is a solution. There's a solution to my anxiety, and I solved that a long time ago, and I don't worry about worrying anymore. But when I was going through it, I felt like there was no answer, there was no solution, and I felt like a fraud. A lot of people might ask, why do game developers often feel so anxious? Well, the reason is because building a game is building a world. You're playing God. And the truth is, we're all not gods, right? We're human beings, and so we're going to create flawed products. For me, I always feel like I'm building a house of cards, and I'm just waiting for it to crumble. Right now, I'm working on a game called Once Upon a Coma, and I'll be honest, I haven't felt confident with this game. It's just the way it goes. I felt like I'm putting together pieces of paper and building this rickety mansion that maybe people will enjoy, but it's probably going to crumble. That's how I feel all the time. The fifth and final thing that you're going to find out when you're creating your very first game is your friends and family don't understand what the hell you're doing, number one, and number two, they don't understand your schedule. They don't understand when you're going to launch your game because you keep telling them, I'm almost done, I'll be done in a couple months, when in reality it takes a couple years, and they're thinking, in their heads, they're thinking, you told me you were going to finish the game in a month, but it's taken you a year. You must be lying, or you must be lazy. They're going to be really confused. They're not going to understand why you're working so long on this game. It's kind of like, in their mind, he's painting a picture. Why is this picture taking so long? And in your mind, it's, no, I'm actually programming a picture. I'm writing music for a picture. I'm creating millions of pictures. I'm animating this picture. And it's really difficult to try and explain this to people who really aren't in the industry. So people might not understand who you are. They might not understand what you're doing, why it's valuable, whether you're wasting your time. So here is one piece of advice regarding this point. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to people who don't understand what you're doing. Listen to people who are in the industry. Listen to me, right? Listen to people who are in the game industry because they're going to give you advice that is real, that makes sense, that you can better understand because they understand you.
Anyways, guys, my name is Thomas Brush. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button or leave a comment or a like. I'm trying to answer your questions as best I can.
Thanks, guys. Bye.